Alrighty, welcome to the 90th edition of Before the Battle. My name is Nick Baldwin of BloodyElbow.com, and joining me as always is Jed Meshew of MMAfighting.com, Wesley Riddle of MMAsoccer.com, who usually joins us, is out again this week, and I'm hearing myself. That is very bizarre. As I was saying, Wes Riddle is not here. He is battling what he thinks is strep throat, so feel better, Wes. But Jed, you might have something to say about that because we did the MMA circus last night. Go check that out. Cheap plug on this YouTube channel. And you were sick. You don't sound as bad. I'm sure you're still battling the cold a little bit still, and you're here.
Just a different kind of sickness. All the nasal drips stopped. Now it's really just congestion, coughing. But yeah, still don't feel great. But I sucked it up and came into work today. So, Wes Riddle, I'm putting you on blast, homie.
And we said off air that we're going to keep this probably a pretty brief show. We tend to ramble on when we shouldn't, and it tends to be longer shows in general when they shouldn't be that long. But this card, we talked about it a little bit on the MMA circus. This is one of the worst cards the UFC's put on probably ever. It's by far the worst card of 2017. Probably the worst card in the past few years. And if you want to go, I mean, I can't say for sure because I didn't get in this sport till not that long ago. But if you want to go back to UFC, in the teens or whatever, back in 2000s, early 2000s, and try and find a card that's worse than this. That would be challenging to do.
Yeah, you can't. It's pretty terrible.
As I said, we're keeping this brief, and
I'm going for real concise because this just doesn't deserve any of our time, really.
No.
But it's gonna get some of it.
Yeah, we have to deliver to the fans. I know everybody's tuning into the show just because we're all so excited to wake up at 3:45 in the morning. If you're on the East Coast and watch this card, that's something where I'm not going to do. Jed, you might have to because of obligations as far as covering the event goes. But hopefully you get a pass there. Let us go back though. This past weekend we had UFC Fight Night 121. Fabricio Verdun gets past Marcin Tybura by 5-round unanimous decision. Pretty dominant performance and pretty good performance. It wasn't a terrible fight, wasn't a great fight, but he got past Tybura with relative ease. Let us go to our picks results, DraftKings results, and bonus results. What do you got for us?
Well, I guess we'll start with our picks results. Even though I sort of think it's garbage because our winner is not even here to claim his prize. This happened pretty often in our show's brief history. Your winner picks wise, Wesley Riddle went 10-3. He only missed on the Rashad Coulter Tai Tuivasa fight. All three of us ended up missing on Will Brooks getting tapped out. I don't think many people foresaw the guillotine coming from Nicholas Lentz, but there you go. And all three of us also missed on the Beck Rollins fight. So those were Wes's three. Nick, you missed the two that I said, Rollins and Brooks. You also missed Tim Means losing to Bilal Muhammad. You went out on a limb and picked Bohan Velichkovich. That was close, but not quite there. He ended up losing to Jake Matthews. And you also picked Judo Dan Kelly, which came up short. Myself, I also went 8-5, same as you, Nick. I missed the two we talked about, Brooks and Rollins. I also missed the Tim Means fight versus Bilal Muhammad. But my other losses were both early fights. I went out on a limb, picked Anthony Hamilton to beat White Zurich just because I thought White Zurich was bad. I was apparently mistaken there.
No, you were right there.
I didn't watch the fight. I have no concept for what happened. So
it was not a good fight, and Weisrick is not a good fighter, but Anthony Hamilton just is that much worse.
Even worse. Yeah, well, there you go. And I picked Alex Chambers on general principle since Nadia Kasim had literally never fought a credible fight in her life before, and Alex Chambers at least had that. Apparently, that fight was horrible, but Alex Chambers did not come away with the decision.
Considering the card in general wasn't good, that was one of it was sloppy, but it was kind of fun.
Yeah, that sounds terrible to me. This is the UFC. We shouldn't be having sloppy fights at this point, but unless it's in the heavyweight division. But so those were my misses on the day. Rollins, Means, Hamilton, Chambers, and Brooks. Moving on to our bonus predictions. Actually, I guess you could argue I made up for it in the fact that I did get a performance bonus correct. I picked Tai Tuivasa to get a performance of the night. He did. Your bonus winners, I guess, for posterity's sake. Fight of the night went to Camacho Brown. Damian Brown, Frank Camacho had a fight of the night, despite the fact that Camacho came in overweight. They still got performance of the night bonuses. Frank Camacho just did not get his bonus. Your performances went to Nick Lentz for his aforementioned guillotine choke over Ill Will Brooks, and then Tai Tuivasa's KO victory over Rashad Coulter with the flying knee took home the other performance bonus. My fight of the night was Shelton Lausa. Obviously, that was incorrect, but I did get Tuivasa right. My means pick on performance bonus was incorrect, and my underdog pick of Alex Chambers, again, incorrect. Wes Riddle, he got his fight. He had a double up this week. He got the fight of the night correct. He picked Brown Camacho to be his fight of the night. Obviously, was correct there. His two performance bonuses were to go to Volkanovski and Verdum. Both winners, just not in performance earning fashion winners. But his underdog pick, Bilal Muhammad, also came away with the victory. So two whatever we want to call them, extracurricular picks right for Wes Riddle last week. And you, sir, came up with a big goose egg in this category. You had Means Muhammad as your fight of the night. No go. You had Volkanovski. You had Benoit. Or Benoit, I guess, because he doesn't pronounce it properly. So you had Volkanovski, you had Benoit, both winners. Apparently, Benoit even maybe had a good-looking finish, but not quite enough to earn the bonus. And your underdog pick of Velichkovic did not bear fruit, which brings us to our final thing, the DraftKings
I just want to say real quick, it's unfortunate with my Benoit pick because there's 3 finishes on the card, and I picked Benoit got one of the 3, yet the 2 bonuses went to the other 2. So just my luck.
Just close but no cigar. But I'll tell you what you did get the cigar in. That was DraftKings this past week with a very respectable team score of 537 points. Nick, you take home the DraftKings team. You had 3 triple-digit earners in Fabricio Verdum, Volkanovski, Camacho, then Nick Lentz, who I distinctly remember you picking, not feeling great about, but you put him on your team because he was really cheap and he made the money work. Came up with 95 points, just shy of 3 digits. Dan Kelly did not do you any huge favors, and White Zurich got a win, but not a lot of points. But still, 537, a very respectable point showing. Wes Riddle coming in second place, just 20 points higher than me. All 3 of us were on the Volkanovski Verdum train. He supplemented it with Bilal Muhammad, Beck Rollins, Dan Kelly, and Nadia Kassim. That's 2 winners and 2 losers, and so there are the differences in his points. And I don't know if you recall my particular strategy on the DraftKings. Do you remember what I did? Because it was genius, and it just didn't quite work out, which I think is mainly some type of trickery on your part. That's my guess here.
I don't remember now.
My team was to pick the 3 most expensive and the 3 least expensive. I had Fabricio Verdum, Alexander Volkanovski, and Tai Tuivasa on my team. All 3 of them big earners, triple digits, 118, 116, 111. But I supplemented that with Janelle Lausa, Anthony Hamilton, and Alex Chambers. And while Chambers did put up, Chambers and Hamilton both honestly put up decent numbers in losing efforts. If either of them had turned around and gotten the win on those scorecards, then it would have been a really good night for me.
What did Hamilton get?
Hamilton put up 41 points. Okay. Alex Chambers put up 54 points. But, I mean, 41 points, Hamilton put up more points than White Zurich did without the win bonus, essentially.
Right, yeah.
So, 54 for Chambers versus Kassim 69. So, again, Alex Chambers put up more points minus the win bonus than Nadia Kassim did. So, I feel pretty okay about my selection. Just didn't pan out for me, but maybe this week I can turn it back around, get that strap back that I just had. And, yeah, we'll go on. All our business is taken care of for last week, and now we can move on to just this wonderfully delightful card we have ahead of us.
Yes, and we'll talk about it so in depth because it's, as you said off the top, it deserves all of our time. 2 hours. We'll be here for quite a while, so everybody get comfortable. This is going to be a fun show. Fun because a lot of these fighters, I still don't know, okay, so how many blank faces do we have on UFC.com? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
I believe it's
8,
10.
9, 10. That must be close to a record. That says something, by itself. Not a good card, but we got to deliver every week before the battle. We've only missed a number of shows, and that was way back in 2015 when Jed Meshew wasn't here and Wesley Riddle. So as our three-way show, that has been the best before the battle team there has been. We've never missed a show. And so we can't, we have to live up to all of our many fans' expectations. So with that, let's go into UFC Fight Night 122. Goes down from Shanghai, China this Saturday morning. If you're in North America, you will have to plan. If you plan on watching it live, you'll be waking up very early. It is the first UFC card in mainline China, so in that regard, it is history making. But so was last week's card, which wasn't a good card off of paper. Broke the record for the longest UFC event. Not a record that the fighters on that card should be too proud of. This goes down at 3:45 a.m. Eastern, 12:45 a.m. Pacific. Starts out on UFC Fight Pass, ends on UFC Fight Pass. But if you're in Canada, like I am, if you have Fight Network, a paid channel on cable, you will be able to watch the 4-fight main card on TV. So that's pretty good. Although my cable provider doesn't have HD Fight Network, so I'll still be watching on the Fight Pass when I do go back and watch whatever fights I decide to watch. So with that, let's start out on the early prelims. First fight of the night, of the morning, whatever you want to say. Cyril Silverback Asker taking on Hui Zhang. Oh, jeez. I just realized this is going to be terrible pronunciation-wise, this whole card. Hui Zhang. That is just so bad. Who are you picking?
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and preemptively apologize for just a total butchering. Any name I speak on this card is probably going to be awful. I speak zero Mandarin or Chinese, or frankly, I'm not even entirely sure if all of these are operating in a uniform language. So, with that being said, we said we're going to keep it brief. Here are all the notes I have written down on the Cyril Asker versus Yao Zhang Hu, would be my guess on how to pronounce that.
That means a lot better, but yeah.
This is a really fun one, because if you look into it, Yao Zhang Hu has fought just 3 times in his professional career. That's right. We have a UFC fighter coming in not off tough with only 3 victories. Now, granted, he is coming in as a late notice replacement, I do believe, but his 3 victories are, oh man. I told you this yesterday, right? I think when we were talking off air, I told you this. But if I didn't, let me tell you this now. His 3 victories come over a fighter who was 2-3 at the time, over a 0-0 fighter, and his last fight, a win, was against an 0-1 fighter. That's right. He has not fought a guy who has a winning record in competition. 3 fights against just not good competition. And so for that reason, and that reason alone, and you're going to hear me say this a lot, this card, because there's a lot of fighters, men and women on this card, who have similar previous records, and I'm going to tell you about them. Don't you worry, folks. I'm going to tell you. And when I do tell you, I'm going to follow it with the same line every time. Cyril Asker has at least fought real people, so I'm taking him. Now, granted, we saw last week that I employed this logic to pick Alex Chambers to beat Nadia Kasim. I came up short in that. I didn't watch the fight. I have no idea how close to correct I was. So maybe I'll be wrong on every one of these things. The possibility exists, but I'm always going to side on the fight of the person I'm going to side on the side of the person who has actually fought human beings before, as opposed to going in there against just live punching bags. So give me Cyril Asker. I'm feeling decision, because it's not going to be a decision. It's a heavyweight. This is heavyweight. What are you thinking here? Huh? Can you sway me? What round is the stoppage coming in? I'm going to say round 1, just to get out there. Let's get out there. Let's have fun. We're going to open the proceedings with the round 1 TKO stoppage for Cyril Asker.
Yeah, we have to make ourselves believe. We need to subconsciously make ourselves believe that this is going to be a fun card, because on paper it's not.
Oh, it's going to be a fun card. Don't you forget it.
We cannot pick a single decision tonight. That just goes against before the battle Shanghai rules.
I'm probably going to pick some decisions, but we'll see.
Yes, I probably will break that rule as well. For this fight, I got to go with Cyril Asker here as well. The thing is with Yao Zhang is he's stepping up on very short notice. Asker's original opponent, James Mulheron, tested positive in a potential anti-doping violation in a out of competition test administered by USADA. I believe it was closer to the end of October. He was flagged last week and pulled from the card, and a little surprised they found a replacement, but I'm sure there's a lot of fighters, in China specifically, with this card being in Shanghai, willing to step up. So good that they got a replacement, but I don't know how well Zhang will do in this fight. Asker, he's not a good fighter, but he can hit hard, and the fact is he's a big, sizable favorite. And this is one of the. I actually did a little bit of research for this card because I didn't want to sound like a complete dummy talking about fights like Keenan versus Bobby Nash. But for this one, this was one where I think it's a bit more straightforward than some of the others. I like Asker here. I like him by knockout in the first round. He's fought in the UFC before. He's not stepping up on short notice. He's fought better competition. He has an experience advantage. It's hard to pick a guy who's 3-0 in mixed martial arts. Like, that's no experience pretty much. So give me Cyril Asker. I think this card will start with a bang. Not just saying that because wishful thinking. I do think he gets a knockout here in round number 1. So that is my pick. Silverback gets back into the winning column. Round 1 KO. Next up, we got newcomer, and I'll be saying that a lot, Wulji Beren taking on Rolando Dai. An interesting story with Dai here. He was actually cut from the UFC after his last loss to Teruto Ishihara a couple months back, and then he retired. He's like, screw this. There's no point fighting on the local circuit. I'm out of the UFC. They don't want me, so let's hang up the gloves. Probably a smart choice. But then, for whatever reason, the UFC, according to him, called him on 2 or 3 weeks' notice. Hey, we got a short notice fight for you, and Beren, I don't think, to my knowledge, was supposed to fight someone else on this card, so I guess they just wanted to fill up a spot, and that's fine. So he unretired, and here he is, a UFC fight for Rolando Dai. He did not expect. He's taking on Beren, as I said, the Beastmaster. Who do you pick here?
Ooh, so all I got here is that Wulji Beren is a Shujai wrestler. That's like Chinese sort of Mongolian style wrestling. Think maybe slightly akin to Sambo, like foot sweeps and throws and stuff too, not just like folk style wrestling or whatever. And based purely on that and the fact that I don't think Rolando Dai is very good. And granted, there's not basically anybody that Wulji Beren has fought that I had known, although he did fight a guy purely named Yuri, which is just delightful. And not well, let me correct that. Not only did he fight a guy whose only name, according to Tapology, is Yuri, he lost to this guy. It was Yuri's only fight ever. So really just great stuff. That alone should really make you not want to take Wulji Beren. But I just don't trust Rolando Dai. If he just, and I didn't even know about the retirement thing, so he just retired. His heart's not in it. He's coming back. He's going to enjoy the moment. Wulji Beren's got the home field advantage. Give me the underdog because let's have fun, man. And Rolando Dai, he's a pretty tough customer, though. I know we said we're not picking decisions, but screw you. You're not my mom. Wulji Beren by decision.
Speaking of my mom, I just received a text from her saying great pronunciations, LOL. So thanks for the support. I look forward to butchering many other names later tonight. I'm liking that we're disagreeing already, so that's fun. So I'm going Rolando Dai here. This is a fight again. I looked at. I have a few notes for most of these fights, and the first two happen to be 2 of the 3 I do not have any. Dai here, though, I don't know anything about Beren, but he's 10-4, so he has the experience. But he has 4
losses. To Yuri, I just told you.
Right, so he has 4 losses, including the one to Yuri outside of the UFC. That's not a great record to be entering the UFC with, and I don't know what he does well. Really, you said he what was he in again before this?
Shui Zhao. He's right. It's Chinese like folk style wrestling, but it's not like American folk style, so it's like more Mongolian throws, tosses, sweeps and stuff. All right.
Dai,
he's a grappler. Right. He's an old school grappler.
With Dai, the biggest sort of thing that makes me step back a little bit and not feel confident in this pick of him is, as you said, the fact that he just retired and just unretired. Like, whenever you retire and literally 2 weeks after or a month, and then you come, oh, the UFC wanted me back, so here I am. Do you really want this? Are you just here for the paycheck? Maybe. I can't speak for him, but it seems like that could be the case. So his head's not there probably, but I still think he's good enough. Like, I was actually kind of impressed with his fight against True. I think if it wasn't for a low blow, he might have won. I know there was some controversy in that fight, and I know it was a pretty close one. His wrestling's pretty good. I was kind of impressed with his striking too. True Gastelum in that fight, if I'm not mistaken, to die. He did okay. The fight. I don't remember as far as scorecards. I know it was close. I don't recall if there was a case to be made for Dai winning that fight. If I have time, I'll pull up MMA decisions for that one. But yeah, I like his game overall. I'm worried about the fact that he is unretiring, as I said, but I'm not sure that impacts the entire fight. So yeah, give me Rolando Dai here. I like him by decision. Next up, we got a women's bantamweight matchup between newcomer Wu Yanan taking on Gina Mazzani. Danger. Who do you like here?
I also should point out for posterity, I forgot to be informing the fans of Wes Riddle's picks in case they care. He's on the Asker train as well, and he splits the tie between us. He is also taking Burin, so suck on that, Nick. Moving on, as you so adequately put it, to the Gina Mazzani versus Yanan Wu fight. Here's what I got on that one. Wu is a Sanchow kickboxer. There are like 8 of those on this card, so there's gonna be a lot of that coming your way. And Wu, like who we talked about like Yao Zhang Hu we talked about in the opener, fought a lot of people that are total dog shit. Yanan Wu has an 8-1 record. She has fought 5. Count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0 fighters. Also among that list, outside of those 5 fighters, she fought an 0-3 fighter. She fought an 0-2 fighter, and she fought an 0-1 fighter. The one opponent she has faced, she had a split decision win over one of the 2 opponents she's had with the winning record, a Bo Mang, who was 1-0 at the time. So again, remember, split decision there over Ms. Bo Mang, and her one loss, the one in her 8-1 record, is to by far the best competition she ever faced, Yana Kunitskaya, who at the time that they fought was 8-2. You may know Yana Kunitskaya as an Invicta title challenger, an Invicta title winner for a moment before it was turned into no contest for that weirdness with Tanya Evinger slightly before. But so that's the one good fighter she's fought, and Yana Kunitskaya punched her lights out in 2 rounds. So compare that to Gina Mazzani, who is not whatever. She went to a decision against Juliana Pena in the Tough House, and that right there is enough for me, because that's better than anything. Like, literally going to a decision loss to Juliana Pena in a 10-minute fight is better than anything Yanan Wu's done. So give me Gina Mazzani. The odds reflect this as well. She is a -140 favorite. I'm taking Gina Mazzani by I'm going to say late stoppage, 3rd round TKO. And I will say that you get to be the arbiter this time, because me and Wes Whittle, we disagree. He is taking Yanan Wu. Didn't give a reason, I don't think. I'll look in and check real fast. Let's see what he's put here on Yanan Wu. He has by decision. So you're the tiebreak. What are you feeling here, Nicholas?
And just a heads up, I'm going off of UFC.com, and since they're, for all of the Chinese people on the card, their names, like, they say last name first. So I guess we're supposed to say Wu Yanan, where you've been going the other way. So
I'm reading off Tapology. If Tapology lied to me, I don't care. That's on them. I got nothing here, and I'm not invested enough to try harder.
Yeah.
So if like I said, if I'm doing your name wrong in any way, I apologize. If it is Wu Yanan,
pronunciation is different, but I mean, I'll try and get the order right, Jed. I don't really care, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, pick. Who do you think is Yanan Wu winning or Wu Yanan winning,
I
or
mean,
is it going to be Gina Mazani or
I
Mazani Gina?
I have no faith at all in either fighter. Like Gina Mazzani isn't a good fighter. She got ragdolled by Sarah McMahon, and by I shouldn't say ragdolled because she got tapped out in like a minute and a half or whatever in her debut. So that wasn't an impressive showing. It wasn't, I should say, but that also, Sarah McMahon is one of the better women's bantamweights in the world. So, and she's been getting better, seemingly at Team Alpha Male. Wu Yinan, I'm gonna pick her. I think she has better striking. I think she hits kind of hard, but as you said, she's fought nobody. She's fought literal cans, and so I'm not confident. I'm not really confident in any of these picks except for probably the main event, if we're being honest with ourselves. But Mazani she has the UFC experience. She's had one fight. I don't know how much that matters. Yanan actually has the overall MMA experience. She's younger. Mazani has been very inactive. So more because of the intangibles here. I think, Mazani's grappling defense isn't great, and I think Yanan's grappling might be a little underrated. So I think Yanan takes this here. I think it could be a close fight. So give me Yanan by decision. I think she'll mostly outstrike Mazani, but maybe even score a takedown. So yeah, give me Yanan by close unanimous decision. And Wes, Wes,
You gave
said
Wes.
yes.
Wes is also on Yanan. I stand alone picking Gina Mazani.
You do. Moving on, we got the heavyweights again. Chase the Vanilla Gorilla Sherman taking on Shamil Abdurakhimov. That's one that I can pronounce. Who do you like here? Sherman, the slight underdog. Both guys, they opened even at minus 120 betting wise. Abdurakhimov has a bit of money has come on him. Sherman is a slight underdog as we speak. Who do you like here?
I get it. I understand everything that's going on here. I think it makes sense in my head that Shamil Abdurakhimov is Abdurakhimov, ABCs, as Chase Sherman calls him, is your favorite. I think that that's probably fair considering quality of competition. But I'm taking Chase Sherman. I think the Vanilla Gorilla, I don't know if it's just that I'm into his social media game, but I think it is really, for me, it's like, hey, he throws a lot of punches. He has a really high work rate, especially for heavyweight, just an incredible pace set. He's a pretty good defender at takedowns. So I think Abdurakhimov is going to be stuck on the feet with him, and maybe has a little more power going at him, just, punch for punch here. But Chase Sherman's a tough-ass dude, can take a good licking, keep on ticking, and he's going to throw back 100-fold. And I just think that volume is going to add up. Maybe he can't chip away and wear down Abdurakhimov, who has himself proven to be fairly durable. Going 4 rounds against Derek Lewis is not the easiest thing in the world to do. But I think either one way or another, Chase Sherman gets the job done, either piles up the points for a decision or maybe gets a late stoppage after piling up the damage. Give me the underdog, Chase Sherman, and I will have our good colleague, esteemed friend, Wesley Riddle agrees. He has Chase Sherman with the KO/TKO in round number 2.
Well, I'm here by myself again. I'm going Shamil Abdurakhimov here to defeat the Vanilla Gorilla. Close fight. I think it could go either way. I'm not confident because Abdurakhimov has been out of action since December of last year when he was TKO'd by Derek the Black Beast Lewis in the 4th round, despite being up 30-27, I believe, in all scorecards going into those championship rounds. So terrible fight, but I guess for 15 minutes, kind of an impressive performance from Abdurakhimov solely because he was beating Lewis, who at the time was ranked, I think, quite a bit higher than him. I like Abdurakhimov, though, here because I think he's a better grappler. I think he actually might outpoint Sherman, and that seems on the feet, I should say, and that seems a bit weird to say just because Sherman is super active, but I think Abdurakhimov is actually the more technical striker. And I think he's definitely better on the ground. We don't really see much of Sherman's ground game at all. He's mostly a stand-up guy. But Sherman is so hittable. And that's what this really comes down to for me. I think Abdurakhimov will be able to outpoint Sherman. I think Sherman probably works a bit more. If I check the landed per minute, Sherman by far 6.33 strikes landed per minute on average to Abdurakhimov's 2.48. So that, not really comparable. But I think Abdurakhimov His accuracy is a little bit better. I think he is able to outpoint Sherman on the feet. This is also, in a way, a big step up for Sherman. Sherman has fought, he fought Rashad Coulter, and he fought, as far as his wins go, and his other win was Demon Grabowski. Like, those are two of the worst heavyweights in the UFC. So wins over both fighters that were not, the Grabowski win, that was a decision. So that doesn't say a lot to me. The Coulter fight was back and forth, a fun fight until Sherman got the TKO in the second. Wasn't, super impressive. And then he got knocked out by Walt Harris and, lost the decision to Justin Ledet. So, he's a great social media guy, but I haven't been super impressed with Sherman inside the cage. I think he's getting better, but I think Abdurakhimov will be the better overall fighter here. So give me Abdurakhimov in a pretty bad fight by unanimous decision. Next up, we got the featherweights, both newcomers here. Song Yadong taking on Bharat Kandar. And the interesting thing about Kandar here is that he is the first UFC fighter to be born in India. Some might be confused because they think Arjan Buhler was that, but he was actually born in Canada. He is of Indian descent. He was the first of Indian descent, to my knowledge, but Kandar is the first Indian-born UFC fighter. Who do you like here? Featherweights, China versus India.
Man, this is just a shit sandwich here. Bharat Kandar has fought, I said it many times, fought nobody good. The one good fighter he fought, Ahmed Fares, in his last bout before coming here, choked him out in 3 minutes. So the one fighter he's fought that has any type of quality to his name, any type of quality record behind him, choked him out with extreme ease, and somehow he ended up getting a ticket into the UFC as a result of that. Not entirely sure exactly how that worked, other than the fact that this card is filled with hijinks of the highest order, and people are coming in off losses and 2 losses and 3 losses, and it's just a wild time to be in the UFC when they go to Shanghai, apparently. On the other end of that spectrum, Yadong Song, or Song Yadong, I suppose, as it goes. Again, no offense intended here. Honestly, don't know which is correct. Has not fought. He's fought actually some quality competition. Not done too well against the quality competition he's faced. Beat most of the bad competition he's faced, but he does have some win over some fighters with at least good records. He also has some losses to some fighters with some questionable records here. Got a loss to a 5-9 guy. Granted, that was a DQ loss, so I'm not sure what happened there because I didn't go look into this. But also has a straight-up lost a decision to an 0-2 fighter. And that wasn't like super long ago. That was last year. Last October, 1 calendar year from last month. He lost a fight to a guy who had never won a fight and fought twice before. So that's a little bit concerning. But still, Bharat Kandar has just fought nobody worth a shit. And Song Yadong has at least gotten some wins over guys with winning records. And on this card, apparently, that's all you can ask of somebody. So give me Yadong Song by who? Good question. Let's go. How did Bharat Kandar lose his last fight? Get tapped out. He got tapped out in 3 minutes. I don't think that's going to happen here. Let's go with decision just to be safe. So give me Song Yadong by decision. Wes Riddle agrees exactly. Song Yadong by decision. 2 in my corner. Are you going to stand alone one more time, Nicholas?
No, I don't think I am. This is the only fight on the card with 2 newcomers getting at it against each other, and this is the one fight I know zero about. I know that Kandar is the first Indian-born fighter. I know he's on a 2-fight losing streak. I'm right there, right? Yadong, I don't know anything about.
I don't think Kandar's on a 2-fight losing streak.
Oh, really? Someone was, right?
No. Rolando Dai is on a 2-fight losing streak.
A newcomer, though.
I don't know. Maybe I'm not paying attention. No, Kandar has only lost 1.
Oh, okay. So his other pro loss would have been earlier.
Yeah,
I guess. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I thought there was someone. I could be mistaken. I'm not sure, but I don't know anything about either guy. I'm going with the favorite here. Seems like a reasonable pick, Song Yadong, and just because you guys are going decision, I don't want to be wrong. Just for no reason. So give me Song Yadong. I hate to say it, but by decision. Next up, we got the strawweights. Kylan Curran taking on Jan Zygnon. Curran is on a huge losing streak. I believe she is 1-5, 1-4 in the UFC. She has an losing record overall. She's 4-5 according to UFC.com. This is a match for the make it ages. Who do you got?
So remember when I said I was going to be giving you the exact same breakdown for a lot of fights? Here's another one of those. Yan Xiaonan. Again, sorry if I'm butchering it. Yan Xiaonan has fought nobody good. If you look at her record, there are three. Her record is 7-1. 3 of those victories are over 0-0 fighters, and those weren't at the beginning of his career. That was her 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th, 7th, and 8th fights respectively were over 0-0 fighters. You might have noticed that I went 5, 7 to 8 because her 6th fight was against an 0-1 fighter, and her 4th fight was against an 0-1 fighter. So yeah, not a super great record here. She does have the best fighter. By best, best is a questionable way to describe this woman. Emi Fujino, Emi, I'm not entirely sure, has been around the game forever and fought a ton of names: Jessica Aguilar, Mizuki Inoue multiple times, Megumi Fujii, Mei Yamaguchi. She's been fighting forever, but has like close to a 50% win rate. And something happened in that fight, went to a no contest with Yan Xiaonan. Conversely, Yan Xiaonan also a Sanchao fighter. So yeah, Kailin Curran is super not good at fighting. Has lost 3 in a row and 5 of her last 6. Her lone win being over Emily Kagan. It is genuinely astonishing that the UFC has not cut her. I think she might honestly have the worst record in UFC history at 1-5. But she persists for reasons best known to other people. I super want to take Yan Xiaonan purely because Kailin Curran is so bad at the fighting of games, but I just don't trust a fighter who has a Sanchao background, has beat a bunch of 0-0 fighters. I at least know Kailin Curran can grapple a little bit, and that's enough for me to pick her. Give me Kailin Curran, taking another baby underdog here. I think she's going to get a submission. I base that on damn near absolutely nothing. But I'll tell you what, Wes Riddle sort of agrees with me. He also has Kailin Curran by decision. Again, the question is put to you. Are you on an island, sir?
Well, this time I am on an island.
Okay.
With Kailin Curran, I've always looked at her and just I feel like there's some sort of potential. Not a lot of potential, not even really any potential, but there more than what she's offered. I feel like there's always been more potential than what we've seen in the cage, and what we've seen in the cage, the octagon, is really, really bad. Like it's not like her grappling is terrible, but she just always finds a way to lose. It doesn't matter whether she's a better fighter skill-wise or not, or technically. She just seems to always lose, whether it's she tires or she gives up a position on the ground or she, anything. She just always loses, and I keep picking her, and I keep, eating crow afterwards in a way. So I'm going to stop picking Kailin Curran, and I'm going to go with the newcomer Yan Xiaonan. Yan, she, to my knowledge, is training at Jackson Wink MMA. So that'll help. Even if she's not a great fighter, which I'm sure she isn't, training at Jackson Wink MMA with some of the best coaches, in the world, that certainly will help her game. She seems to be a pretty good striker. And Kailin Curran, her defense, in general, Curran's not a good fighter, so, her defense isn't very good. So I think Curran gets outstruck on the feet. Grappling is where Curran will, might be able to do something. If Curran wants to win this fight and plans on it, she needs to, try and get Yan Xiaonan down to the ground. I don't know if she'll be able to. She's not a super big threat. Again, it's more just scraping the barrel, the bottom of the barrel. If she's going to win, it's probably going to be by submission, as you're predicting, Jed. So I don't see that happening, though. So give me Yan Xiaonan. I like her by decision. I think a late stoppage wouldn't be too surprising either. Let's move on and talk about a welterweight matchup. We have newcomer Song Keenan taking on Bobby Nasty Nash at the 170-pound division. As I said, we got China versus the US of A. Who do you like?
Hey, remember earlier when you were asking the fighter debuting in the UFC off of
Yes,
2 losses?
yes. Okay, so
Found him.
someone dropped a message in the YouTube chat a few minutes ago. Shout out to MTW Sports 3. He says, guy fighting Nash is coming off 2 losses, and that is who I was referring
to. Keenan Song Keenan. However it goes. Yeah, so just a terrible record, but maybe this will take your fancy because you were just big up in Yan Xiaonan about it. Been training with Jackson Wink for this camp as well, so maybe that'll tease you and get you to pick him over Bobbert Nash here. As for me, I'm going to take the real fighter versus a guy who's beat a bunch of cans. That's actually a little unfair. His record is better than many of the other fighters who I have decried or lamented. But he also has some like super bad losses. His last fight was a loss to a fella by the name of Brad Riddle. Bradley Riddle is a fighter out of looks to be New Zealand, I think. Yeah, New Zealand. Tiger Muay Thai fighter who was 2-0 at the time, moved to 3-0 and hasn't fought since. So lose to a 2-0 fighter, not super good for your record, bruh. Also another loss to a 2-0 fighter 2 years ago. Lost to a 3-0 fighter that same year. These are not things that instill a whole heaping helping of confidence in him. And Bobby Nash is not a good fighter. He's lost 2 in a row in the UFC. Lost to a guy we're going to talk about later. Got punched out by Danny Roberts in the last go-around. But before then, he had at least done enough to somewhat meritoriously. I'm not going to say somewhat meritoriously. He had a nice KO win over a decent fighter in DeRay Davis on the RFA circuit and put together an okay record before then. So yeah, Bobby Nash, real fighter. The other guy, I don't really know if he is or not. Seems like he might have trouble with fighting real fighters. So give me Bobbert Nash. Don't feel super confident in it, but I'm going to take him, and I'm going to take him by, I guess, decision.
Yeah, Song here, the fact that he's training at Jackson Wink, that's good. I think the difference, though, in skill, even if Jan wasn't training at Jackson Wink, I still think she has a decent shot against Current, but that's just attitude. Where here, I think this is a pretty not a mismatch, but I think I'm confident in Bobby Nash here. I like him by knockout. I don't think Song is on his level. Nash isn't a great fighter by any means. He's 0-2 in the UFC with knockout losses to Danny Roberts and Li Jingliang, who, as you said, we'll talk about later. But those were both close fights before he lost by knockout. He was, I think, arguably beating Danny Roberts. I think he was doing well against Li Jingliang. So he's a decent fighter. He packs a punch. He puts his strikes together kind of well. And that's really what this comes down to. He hits hard, and I don't think Song's a good fighter. He's coming off 2 straight losses. Like, that is really freaking bad. And it's ultimately, we see that all the time with these Chinese cards, just fighters coming off losses like this. And you got to wonder, like, why are they here? But I guess there's just a drought as far as, fighters who want to fight on UFC China. I don't know. It's very bizarre, but give me Bobby Nash. He's fought the better competition. I know more about him, and I think he's an okay fighter. I don't think Song is an okay fighter. I think he's a really bad fighter. So give me Bobby Nash. I like him by first round knockout.
Wes Riddle agrees. All 3 of us have Bobby Nash. You have a stoppage. Me and Wes both have decisions. Just throwing that out there. So now we can move on to the real main event, the people's main event. Magomed Sharipov, Zabit Magomed Sharipov, it's just way too many syllables in one name, versus Shaman Moraes. I'm just going to jump right into this. This is actually a really good fight. I'm really excited to see Shaman Moraes. He totally deserves to be in the UFC. I don't remember if I'm supposed to not like Zabit Magomed Sharipov or not based on his political affiliation, because I know that he is
I think you're Pakistani
fighter. I know he's a Dagestani fighter, which means you probably should feel at least a little bit of some type of way about him. But I just don't remember. I don't think that I'm bad about him. I don't think he's super
He's not
connected.
a Ramzan guy, no.
Yeah, I didn't think he was, but I wasn't 100% because he's an ACB fighter, not a Ramzan groupie thing. Right? I'm right about that. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, I don't know
Um,
about ACB, but he's not Kadyrov.
yeah, but Kadyrov has his Akhmat.
Akhmat, yeah.
Yeah, and ACB is not Akhmat. So if he's not fighting under Akhmat, we don't have to feel bad about him.
Yes.
He's also super fucking awesome. I don't know if you remember the Mike Santiago, his debut earlier this year. It was dope. It got him performance to the night bonus because it was so dope. He was out there throwing all types of shit, finishing up with a dope ass choke. Shane Moraes, a little bit more meat and potatoes around him. Team Nogueira guy. Coming off a win over Luis Palomino and WSOF, put together a pretty decent run on WSOF, 3-1, only losing to Marlon Moraes, who we've seen make the transition to the UFC extremely effectively just last week, and now he's getting a big fight against Aljamain Sterling, which wins one more, he's right there at a title shot. So really good fight here. You got to take Zabit Magomedsharipov. There's a reason he's a huge favorite here. Such a dynamic offensive force in basically all phases. But I mean, Shane Moraes is tough as nails and can do enough of everything to make Magomedsharipov work. I think on the feet, Sharipov's game is probably going to be a little too varied for him, but we'll see. I think it's going to be fun, man. And give me Magomedsharipov by I think he's gonna hit him with something wacky and then finish him on the floor in the middle rounds. And our colleague Wes Riddle has Magomedsharipov by submission in round 2. So he didn't say whether he thinks that's going to come from strikes or just a straight up sub.
Probably a sub. I think considering we don't see too many TKOs or subs by strikes, he probably would have said so. But
no, I said sub, but I mean if he was going to like hurt him on the feet and then tap him Donald Cerrone style, you know?
All right. So I thought you meant if Shaman was going to tap out due to strikes or not, but yeah. Okay. So moving on, I like Zabit Magomedsharipov here as well, completing the hat trick. I think most people, one of the more confident picks. I think with the main event, you can't call it the most confident for a lot of people, but I think most people are riding on Zabit here. He was pretty unknown going into his debut. I know the people that really do their homework on these cards knew more about Magomedsharipov than, say, I did. Maybe even you. I don't know. But, yeah, after that debut, choking out Mike Santiago, putting on a clinic on the feet beforehand, he looked really good. And I don't like saying he's going to be a future champion when he's 1-0 in the UFC, but he's going to be right up there. He's going to be top 15, I think, sooner than later. He's a really talented fighter, and I would assume he's young. I don't know his age off the top of my head, but I know considering he just made his debut not that long ago, a few months back, probably a young kid. And Shane Reyes, I don't think is super old either. This is a good fight. This is the best fight on the card. And whether it's our Fight Night picks really just comes down to, do we see a stoppage early or not? Magomedsharipov, both guys are really technical on the feet. I think Moraes might actually hit a tiny bit harder, but Magomedsharipov is just so crafty. He does all the flashy kicks, but his fundamentals are good too. Like, his boxing is really tight. It's really good. He's talented really in all assets on the feet. Moraes is a bit more of a power puncher. He packs a punch pretty well. He could catch Zabit Magomedsharipov. It's potential. Sometimes when fighters are so flashy, they leave themselves open a little bit more than others. And, we could see an upset here. But I think the safe pick here is Magomedsharipov. He's just going to be too technical on the feet, too crafty, throwing weird things that Shayman Moraes has never seen. Moraes, he comes to fight, though. This is going to be a good one. Moraes, don't look at Moraes as even Mike Santiago. Like, he's a pretty talented guy. He's beat Luis Palomino. He beat Robbie Peralta, UFC veteran. And, one of his only losses as of late was to Marlon Rice, the bantamweight champion at the time when Shayman Moraes was fighting at bantamweight in a World Series of Fighting. So, that's not a bad loss. And that's actually his only loss of his MMA career, I just realized. So, give me Magomedsharipov. I think it'll be a close fight, kind of. I think it'll be clearly, though, in favor of Zabit. And I don't think he finishes Moraes, though. So give me Magomedsharipov here by unanimous decision. Moving on, we got first fight on the UFC Fight Pass main card, 7 a.m. Eastern, 4 a.m. Pacific. Can't wait to see who watches this one live. We got Muslim Salikov taking on Alex, the Dominican Nightmare Garcia. Jed, do you like the king of kung fu, the newcomer from Russia, or does the native, or I guess he was probably born in the States, I think, but hailing from Dominican Republic? Do you like Alex Garcia, the slight underdog?
Is he a slight underdog? What are the odds on this one?
I think maybe 2 to 1, 2.5. I don't know.
Yeah, he's one of the bigger dogs on the card in general. Not like a
No,
huge
no,
dog. Plus
I think
180.
it's okay. That's not that bad.
I mean, that's more than a majority of these fighters. Yeah, I'm taking the underdog here, man. Muslim Salikov is the most accomplished of this group of fighters that I have been telling you, who are Sanchow or Sanda fighters, just kickboxing fighters. He is a multiple time, over like 8 times or something, world champion in Sanchow. So good for him. That's super cool. And he's got a big lofty record, beating up a lot of really bad fighters. Um, his previous win was against Melvin Gillard. I think we all know what beating Melvin Gillard in the year of our Lord 2017 constitutes, which is not a whole hell of a lot. Win before that was against an 0-1 fighter. So just to give you a kind of concept for the career he's putting together so far, not been a ton of competition. Alex Garcia is legit competition. This dude's a tri-star fighter. Dude can grapple his ass off. He's got skills everywhere. He's got knockout power. Ask Mike Pyle, who's a tough motherfucker and got melted. And I mean, like, look, he hasn't put together the best run in the UFC straight up, but he's put together a solid run so far, good enough to stick around. And he has lost to top shelf talent for the most part. Neil Magny, that's a top welterweight. Sean Strickland, he's a good fighter. I think we all thought Sean Strickland was going to end up being more than he was, but still, still think about it. Like, Sean Strickland's losses are what, to Ponzinibbio and Usman? He's beat everybody else. Like, come on, that's okay. He lost to 2 of the 10 best welterweights. Like, Sean Strickland, still a really good fighter. Tim Means, staying on a borderline top 15 kind of guy right there, around in the division. So, I like Alex Garcia, man. Dude can grapple. And I don't know shit about Muslim Salikov other than that he can kickbox. Yeah, if this stays on the feet, I guess Garcia's probably fucked. But he's a tri-star dude. Gonna have a good game plan. Really smart. I know he can take people down. We've seen it before in the UFC. He has a high takedown accuracy rate and shoots all the time. I think he's just gonna wrestle Muslim Salikov to the ground. If he can tap him, he can tap him. I think he's gonna get it. Me personally, I think he's stopping him on the floor in the second round. Bank on it. Alex Garcia for the upset. I'm picking upsets all day over here.
Yes, and I'm happy
Wesley Riddle, because I can say words, disagrees with me. He's taking Muslim Salikov. He's a coward, and he's taking Salikov by first round KO TKO.
Wow, that's an interesting pick.
So we got wide discrepancy. It's up to you to arbitrate, Nick. Who's right? Cough, cough. It's not the guy who's not here.
Sorry, Jed, but I think it just might be. Give me Muslim Salikov here. I believe the hype. I've heard good things about Salikov, and I've looked into him a tiny bit, but people that have more, he's the favorite. A lot of people are high on this guy, putting him in parlays. I don't know if that's the smartest decision, because this is a closer fight than some people think. Garcia is a pretty good wrestler, and he has knockout power. So it's hard, don't look past that if you're, putting a bunch of bank on Salikov. But I do think you're safe if you do bet on Salikov. At the end of the day, I like him to win this fight. I like him by decision. The thing with this one is that Garcia needs to get the takedowns. Working with TriStar, he'll have a good game plan. So that makes it interesting. But I think Salikov, if this stays on the feet, he definitely beats Garcia. He has more offense in general. Garcia is a power puncher. He lunges forward. If he catches you, great. If not, he's not going to win. He needs to knock you out. He could put Salikov away, but I don't see it happening. I think Salikov is more technical. I think he'll have just more tools in the tool bag as far as actual strikes go. Fundamentals are decent. He has a bit of some spinning attacks under his up his sleeve as well. And so I like that to get past Alex Garcia, who really hasn't done that much. He as of late, he hasn't been super impressive. I think he's coming off a couple losses, as you said, unless I'm forgetting a win that happened quite recently, which I don't think I am. But
No,
yeah,
Alex Garcia he's coming off a loss. Before that, he beat Mike Powell. His last fight was what was
Tim
that?
Means. Tim Means.
Yeah, his last fight was a decision loss to Tim Means. Before that, he beat Mike Powell. Before that, he lost to Sean Strickland,
Okay,
beat Mike
I
Swick.
just got these Strickland and
Yeah,
Pile ones in reverse. But
yeah.
yes, so I like Salikov here. I like him by decision. So I'm the one guy going this all 3 rounds of both you guys going knockouts. I like Muslim Salikov. Not super confident. He's a newcomer, so anything can happen. Step up to the UFC changes everything. But I do like him to get past Alex Garcia. Give me him by unanimous decision. Can't believe this is the co-main event, but it is Li Jingliang, the Leech himself, one of the more exciting
Dude,
fighters.
you're missing a fight here, Chief.
Oh, yes, I am. Let's go back a little bit. Let's go back to the third last fight on the card. We have featherweights newcomer Wang Guan taking on Alex Bruce Leroy Caceres. Pretty fun matchup here. The Dongbae Tiger.
Is it a fun matchup?
It might be.
Do you know
We'll
a
see.
damn thing about Guan Wang?
I know that he hits hard and that he has a decent chance here.
Okay, yeah. I don't know a damn thing about him other than that he, like every other fighter on this card who's making a debut, apparently, is a Sanshao fighter. I'm taking Alex Caceres strictly because, again, Guan Wang has not fought anybody worth shit. His last fight, the fight that got him in the UFC earlier this year, was against an 0-0 fighter. As a dude with a 19-1-1 record fought an 0-0 fighter. This is ridiculous and malpractice because before that, he fought a guy with a 6-2 record. Still not a great defensible thing, but better. But before that, he fought 2 back-to-back 0-0 fighters. Like, man, they just do a lot of fluffing in the Chinese regional circuit at Rennick Ultimate Fighting Federation and Art of War Fighting Championship. These are a lot of garbage-ass fights. Alex Caceres, not a great fighter, but a decent one. Losing to Jason Knight and Yair Rodriguez, I'm not going to dock you points because those are 2 of the best up-and-comers in the featherweight division. Those are 2 dynamic guys who just don't play well against Alex Caceres' style. Look, maybe Guan Wang is that way too, and we just don't know because he's been fighting tomato cans. But I'll pay to see the price. I'll pay to see the cards in his hand because I'm calling it a bluff until I see him show for real. Give me Alex Caceres by decision. He's got a funky enough kickboxing style. He can at least hang on the feet for enough against Guan Wang, and he's an effective wrestler when he chooses to do it. I think he's just going to try and work takedowns, smother, control, maybe work his weird sub game going here. I don't know, man. Caceres, Bruce Leroy. I'm taking the decision here. Our colleague Wes Riddle disagrees. He has Guan Wang with a decision himself. So once again, ton of dissension on this card, mainly because I'm picking a lot of underdogs and a lot of not hometown fighters. You, sir, have to arbitrate who is taking it. Guan Wang, Alex Caceres, split the difference.
Do you know who the favorite? Oh, so you are picking the favorite here.
I'm picking the favorite in this one. I've picked a lot of other underdogs. This is one time where Wes is actually taking the underdog. That disagrees with me.
Now it is Wes and I's turn to go with the underdogs. Give me one. Go on here. I like that. The 2 of us. Wes isn't here, so I'm agreeing with him quite a bit. But we're different on so many of these fights, which is good. Makes for a sort of entertaining show, considering this card is terrible. But give me Wang Guan. Super close fight. I think it could go either way. Before I'm done talking, I might convince myself to go with Bruce Leroy. Caceres is, he's solid on the feet. He has a funky kickboxing game. He can work some strikes and he can do all right. But Guang, from what I know, he hits pretty hard. He hits like a truck. I know he's 16-1. Don't look at that, as Jed warned you. Don't look at that and say, "Oh, this guy's a world beat."
Dude's 19-1. Check it. 19.
Really? All right. Well, UFC says 16.
I could be 19-1 if I fought a bunch of garbage too.
Yeah, that's true. Although actually, you're probably not. They'd have a decent chance of pulling off that upset over you. Go on.
I got hands.
The biggest thing here is the takedowns from Caceres. If Caceres can work a wrestling game, I think he probably can win this fight. I think there's a good chance of it. Guang doesn't have very good takedown defense, but he does have a get-up game. I think he's fought a couple Russians, and early on in his career, he got grinded out. But the second one, he got grinded out for the 2 rounds, but then was able to, get up. I think in the third, and I think he's probably a bit better than both those fights. I think his takedown defense might hold up a little bit here. I think the power of Guang plays a factor here as well. I think he'll be able to maybe not wobble Caceres, but I think he'll be able to tag him a little bit. I think he'll make Caceres feel his punches a little bit. I think this will be a close fight. I think probably 29-28, maybe even a split. But, considering it's in China, if it's a close fight, give me the Chinaman here. Give me Wang Guang by close decision, although a finish wouldn't surprise me. And then, on the other side, Caceres tapping him out. That wouldn't shock me because, Guang hasn't won anybody. This is a big, big step up. So give me Guang, but yeah, it's tough. Co-main event time, and as I said before, we talked about that last fight. Can't believe this is the co-main. Speaks a lot about how terrible this card is, but might be interesting. We got Li the Leech Jingliang taking on Zach the Barbarian Otto at the welterweight division. Jed, you like the favorite here, Jingliang, or does Otto pull off the upset?
Give me the favorite, Li Jingliang. Dude hits pretty hard, which is an important thing here in general, but he also just got more offense than Zach Otto's bringing to the table. Throws more, lands more, better defense, better wrestling defense, better offensive grappling. I think he's basically better in most phases here and beating better competition in general. I think all signs point to this being, and it makes sense. I mean, Li Jingliang is the best Chinese fighter probably in the world. I mean, I can't say that with 100% accuracy, but he is a legitimate competitor in the UFC's division, in the UFC organization, which is more than most of the people on this that have made it on this card. So you would want to try and set him up with a winnable fight. Zach Otto is a winnable fight, and he's a tough, durable guy who's going to hang around for the most part, maybe get stopped late. Give me Li Jingliang with a third round TKO victory. The first guy, I believe, to stop. No, not the first guy. Never mind. I was going to say the first guy to stop Zach Otto. That's not accurate. But he is going to get a late stoppage over Zach Otto.
Was it Mike Baker Rhodes, perhaps?
I don't remember. I just know he didn't lose. But Wesley Riddle concurs with me. He has Li Jingliang with a KO TKO in round 2.
Yeah, give me Li Jingliang here as well. Close fight. I think maybe closer than a lot of people think. I'm tempted to go Otto. The guy, the biggest thing is that he's just a little too inactive for my liking, considering Li Jingliang. I mean, if there's any name on this card, I should be able to say his. He's super active, such a wild fighter. He's super crazy in there, and it makes him fun. He takes a lot of damage. He's been dropped in, I think, his past couple fights. Definitely gets rocked a lot, leaves himself open for strikes. But the thing is, Otto's not the type of guy to capitalize on that. He doesn't hit that hard. He has only a couple wins by knockout. He has a number by submission. We haven't seen much of his ground game, if at all, in the UFC so far throughout 3 contests that have all gone to split, by the way. He has all 3 of his UFC wins have been by decision. I don't think that changes. I do think Jingliang will get a decision, not a knockout. I think Otto stays tough enough. I think he's a durable guy. Good chin on him. So I like Jingliang to outpoint Otto. I think it'll be a pretty crazy fight. I think it could be entertaining. Crazy on Jingliang's side mostly, but I think Otto will come to fight a little bit here. I think Jingliang mostly just pressures him into a fight, and he'll sort of be just tempted to throw in and bang as well. So it could be entertaining, but I think Jingliang will be more active, so give me that guy. Give me Li Jingliang by decision. And that means we are at the main event of UFC Shanghai. It is the former UFC middleweight champion, Michael the Count Bisping, coming back on a 21 days after his title loss to George St. Pierre in the main event of UFC 217. He's taken on rising contender Kelvin Gastelum, who's currently, I believe, number 9 in the middleweight division, although he could be at welterweight and might even be the champion there. But nope, he's at middleweight right now. Kind of an interesting. No, I can't even say it's an interesting fight on paper. Pretty. I know where you're going with this only because we broke this down last night on the MMA Circus, but super funny how, and again, this is something you brought up on the MMA Circus last night. Bisping went from headlining the best card of the year by a bit, 214 was up there too, of course, to headlining by far easily, the worst card of the year. So that's pretty fantastic and really bizarre how he went 21 days, best card, worst card. But he's here, stepping up on 2 weeks' notice or so for Anderson Silva, who didn't know how to pass a drug test. Michael Bisping, Kelvin Gastelum, who takes the win here?
Give me 1 second. Sorry, I was dealing.
This is such a close fight. You haven't decided.
I was crunching the numbers real quick, and the numbers came back that Kelvin Gastelum beat the holy fuck out of Michael Bisping. This is a waste of everybody's time. I hope Michael Bisping is taking full advantage of the free flight to China because he is going to take a one-way ticket straight to Nappy's house. He is about to get slept hard. Kelvin Gastelum is a better fighter than George St. Pierre at this point in time. Not historically, obviously, but he's a better fighter than he is now. Certainly hits harder and is a much better boxer. And George St. Pierre rocked Michael Bisping. Kelvin Gastelum is going to do it in a much, much worse way. Not even, especially considering the fact that just 3 weeks ago, just right around the corner, Bisping was getting rocked and then choked unconscious by George St. Pierre. Here's a little stat for you. In his last 7 fights, Michael Bisping has been knocked down, I believe, 9 times. 9. Maybe it's only 8. It could just be 8. I could be wrong. He has been knocked down at least once per each of his fights. The only fight that he actually wasn't knocked down in his last 7 fights was the rematch with Luke Rockhold, but he was knocked down twice by Dan Henderson, if you recall that. That's right. He gets dropped in every fight, and Kelvin Gastelum is going to drop him, and then he's going to punch him some more in the face. This is as straightforward affair as you can get. I don't condone betting money on things, but if I were to condone it, minus 300 is a friggin' steal on Kelvin Gastelum. Just a steal. He's going to beat the hell out of Michael Bisping. Oh, and I guess Wes Riddle also agreed. I'm predicting first round KO. Wes Riddle's going 3rd round, so there you have it.
Alrighty. I have to agree with both of you, Jed and Wes. Give me Kelvin Gastelum inside the distance here. I've never been super high on Michael Bisping, throughout the time I've known of him, which has been a number of years now, of course. The middleweight title reign was kind of just, we all know it was really stupid. He beat Luke Rockhold. He wouldn't 9 times out of 10, and then he defended it against Dan Henderson. That was fun, but also stupid if we think about it. And then he lost to GSP. So that was kind of a bizarre time for Michael Bisping, but props to him for getting a UFC title. So good on him for coming back. I don't know if this is a super smart decision. I don't think it is at all, really. I don't know how much he actually needs the money. He's had acting gigs. He probably made a ton of money for the GSP fight and even, Dan Hendo. So, props to him for stepping up. He, becomes a bit of a fan favorite and the fans like it, but I'm not sure if it was a super smart decision. Kelvin Gastelum hits like a truck. He's a good wrestler. He's a good technical striker. His jab and his overhand punches are really good. He's smaller. That's like the one thing Bisping has going for him. He has a 4-inch reach advantage and a 4-inch height advantage. So the only way that really matters, though, because Gastelum has knocked out bigger guys, Tim Kennedy, for example. When that comes into play, when the size, when he's at middleweight and fighting big middleweights, that's when it matters, when he's fighting wrestlers like Chris Weidman, who can bully Kelvin Gastelum. That's what happened when they fought in July. Michael Bisping will not bully Kelvin Gastelum. He's not going to sit on top of him and hold him down because he's so much stronger than Gastelum. Gastelum might actually be a bit stronger. He's like, he's built like a truck. He's super thick in the midsection. And that's part of why he has a tough time cutting to 170, because he's not tall for the division, but he's just really thick for 170. And of course, he likes to have his fair share of unhealthy food on the off season as well. But yeah, stylistically, Kelvin Gastelum's going to outbox Michael Bisping. He has a speed advantage. He is younger. He's not coming off a choked unconscious loss and knocked down loss to George St. Pierre 21 days ago as of fight night or fight morning, whatever you want to say. So everything leans to Kelvin Gastelum here. I don't know how Bisping wins. He'd need to, I don't know, pressure Gastelum and try and outbox him. I don't think that happens. Muscle his way to a victory. I don't see that happening. I think Gastelum could do the same, vice versa. So give me Kelvin Gastelum. I like him by, let's go second round knockout. I think he'll drop Bisping. I think he'll pounce on Bisping. And I think he gets him out of there with some ground and pound. I think it looks a lot like the GSP fight, except I don't think we see a time where Bisping starts to take over. In that second round, Bisping did already against GSP and opened it in the third round. I don't think we see that. I think this is one-way traffic for Kelvin Gastelum. I don't think it'll be back and forth. Kelvin Gastelum all day, second round TKO, maybe even earlier, but within 10 minutes for sure. That's my prediction. Kelvin Gastelum, biggest win of his career, perhaps, although he's already had some big ones. Vitor Belfort, even though that's Vitor Belfort of 2017 post-TRT, still a big name on paper. So yeah, that's it. Kelvin Gastelum, we're all going him in the main event of UFC Shanghai. That wraps up our preview. Let's move on to our segments to wrap things up, and then we'll be out of here. Let us go to our bonuses, post-fight bonuses. Wes, we have Wes's. I will read those out. So for performances of the night, Wes is going Muslim Salikov and Kelvin Gastelum. And for Fight Night, he is going the quite highly rated Magomed Sharipov versus Shaman Rice fight. Your bonuses.
My bonuses, give me Chase Sherman, Shamil Abdurakhimov as my fight of the night.
Wow.
Look, it's going to be a fun heavyweight fight. It's going to be a slugfest. Chase Sherman does not know how to be boring. He's going to throw 100 punches a minute. Abdurakhimov is going to Abdurakhimov is going to take a bunch of punches, throw some back, probably going to hurt Chase Sherman. He's one of those dudes you can hit, get to his chin, but he's tough and hangs in there. It's going to be a back and forth barn burner. Plus, I don't want to just pick Magomed Sharipov versus Shaman Moraes because that's probably what you're going to pick, and it's definitely what Wes is already going to pick. So, going a little different, my performance bonuses, Kelvin Gastelum getting a first-round KO over the very recently middleweight champion. That's going to be good for a bonus. Cyril Asker going to get a first-round KO over some random dude who probably shouldn't be in the UFC, but still, a first-round KO is a first-round KO. My big underdog pick is going to be, I already told you, man, Alex Garcia is going to do the damn thing. One of the bigger underdogs in the card. Not a huge underdog, but still, most people, they're feeling Salikov. I'm feeling TriStar. Give me Alex Garcia as my underdog pick.
All righty. Oh, and Wes's underdog pick, it is Guan. So that is so that's Juan Guan fighting Alex Caceres. He is the underdog. That's a good pick. My bonuses, Fight Night, you called it Jed. Magomed Sharipov versus Shaman Rice. I think that'll be a super fun fight, and I'm a bit more confident maybe than you guys just because I think that'll go the distance. Both of you think Magomed Sharipov ends it inside 15 minutes. My performances, number one, goes to Kelvin Gastelum. They like to give it to the main event fighters and, co-main. So I think he'll definitely take home an extra 50K, even though he definitely does not need it more than someone like, Cyril Asker or whoever. My other one, kind of out of left field, I'm going Bobby Nash. I'm feeling Bobby Nash in this fight. I think he gets a knockout, and I think it'll probably be the cleanest knockout or cleanest finish in general, besides Gastelum's probably on the card. I think Cyril Asker, has a good chance of winning by stoppage as well. Magomed Sharipov, of course, too, but I think Bobby Nash is a bit higher on the card. So, yeah, that's it. Gastelum, Bobby Nash, and Fight Night would be Magomed Sharipov and Moraes. Underdog pick of the week. Considering I'm picking a number of underdogs, I think. Let me just see. I'm going, oh, geez. I am going. So underdogs that I am picking would be Guan 1, 2. Yeah, I can't count. Yeah, this is tough. So Guan's an underdog. Dai is not. Yanan is. I'm surprised Abdurakhimov is an underdog because everybody likes Sherman, but I guess it has to go.
Abdurakhimov is not an underdog, is he? No, he's the favorite. Oh man, did we lose you? Nicholas, you're leaving me on an island here. That's no help to anybody. Sorry guys. Usually when I'm on an island, I'm at least on an island with Wes Riddle. Wes Riddle clearly just stranding me out here. And I guess Nick's having connection issues or something. So it's just you and me, folks. It's just you and me. We can talk about whatever we want to talk about. But I'll tell you what we're going to talk about. We're going to finish up our discussion about this card. Hopefully Nick will join us. But until he does, we can move on to our DraftKings contest. When he jumps back in, he can maybe give us his DK team. He can finish what he was saying about whatever the hell he was saying for his underdog pick, whoever he was going to go with. My DraftKings team for this week, I don't feel good. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. Reason straight up right here. Scout's Honor. Don't feel excellent about it. It's just a card that nobody knows what's going on. I try to stick within things that I felt at least a little bit confident about. So fighters I mostly knew. I'm picking Chase Sherman to beat Shabdullah Abdurakhimov. He made my team as a result. Kelvin Gastelum, I think he's definitely should be on your team. Like I said, I think he's a veritable lock. Oh wait, is our boy back? It sounds like you might be getting back. That's exciting.
I'm on my phone.
Oh, wow. That's super interesting. I'm going to
Yes.
finish up my DraftKings team, and then we'll get back and let you finish your underdog pick and your DraftKings pick, and then roll us out of here. So, like I said, I'm taking Chase Sherman because I'm picking him for the win. Kelvin Gastelum, he's got to be on your team. He's a lock. He's going to win this. There's no chance. He's going to win. He's going to win early. He's going to win big. He's going to win with a lot of damn points. So he's on my squad as well. Li Jiangling, again, I'm picking him to win. I think he's going to get a stoppage late, and he's just a commodity. I know I feel more confident he's going to win than I do throwing darts at the board with the rest of the stuff going on here. Alex Garcia, big underdog. I got a couple of big favorites. I need a big offset. And like I said, he's a big underdog on DraftKings. So he's definitely on my squad because I think he's taking down and submitting this random Sanchow dude. I believe in it. Rounding out the team, Cyril Lasker. All of us are picking a first round KO. He's fighting a guy who's basically never fought before for all intents and purposes, and he hits really hard. Put him on your squad. And to make it all work, the straw that stirs the drink, the second fight of the evening, I forget his first name. I don't forget it, but I don't want to butcher it without looking at it. It's like Walaju, I believe. Whatever. Buren is taking that fight over Rolando Dye. I'm fading Rolando Dye hard. Buren only costs 7,500. He rounds out my squad. That's my DraftKings team. Nick, let's throw it back to you so you can finish out your underdog pick. You throw us your DraftKings team, and then we can exit this bitch.
You see that swap? No one even saw. I went from my phone. Now I'm back in the computer that crashed as per usual, but I'm back in full form. Okay, so my underdog pick of the week, since I froze before I could give that, I'm gonna go with Yunan. I'm gonna go Wu Yunan. She's fighting Gina Mazzani. I thought I was picking way more underdogs. I guess I was just thinking, I was
No,
because
I'm
you were.
picking a bunch of underdogs. You're not picking shit.
Yeah. So I got two underdogs on the card. It's Wong Guan taking on Caceres and Wu Yanan taking on Gina Mazzani. I'm not confident in either, as usual, but I'm a bit more confident in Yanan because I think Caceres has a real good shot there. So give me Wu Yanan as my underdog pick of the week, and it changes things up because Wes here picked Guan. DraftKings. DraftKings looks like this. Not confident. Don't love the team, but got two big players that I think you have. I wasn't really listening because I was just focused on getting back to the live stream. I got Kelvin Gastelum. I got Zabit Magomed Sharapov. I got Wong Guan, who's fighting Caceres. I got Rolando Dai. I got Yan Zinan, who is fighting she's fighting Curran. The Yan Zinan taking on Kylan Curran. And rounding things out, Zach Otto. Not a fan of that, but same happened with Nick Lentz. Wasn't a fan of that, and he pulled out super high price
So
points.
you've got Magomed Sharapov, Kelvin Gastelum, Guan Wong, Zhao Dai, and Otto.
That is correct.
All right. And we don't have Wes Riddle's DraftKings team. He did not deign to give us that. So it'll just be a two-man race this week, but
Well,
I'm feeling
can you
okay
run
about
down
my
your
squad.
team just because I wasn't
Yeah,
listening?
Cyril Asker, Kelvin Gastelum, Li Jiangling, Chase Sherman, Buren, and Garcia. Because I don't
That's
think I
pretty good. Just because I'm not saying your team, it's good, but we have only one the same.
Yeah, I know. I don't think I can put. I still have some dollars. Maybe I can trade Li Jiangling out for Let me actually look at that right now because I don't actually know how much Magomed costs.
We'll look at that while I close out the show, and if you do decide to
close it
change,
out.
we'll worry about that after. So that is it. Episode 90 of Before the Battle UFC Shanghai edition is in the books. Thank you all for watching. If you are indeed watching still and made it to this point in the show, I bow to you. Thank you very much. And if you do, decide to watch, if you do decide to watch UFC Shanghai this weekend live on Fight Pass, 3:45 a.m. Eastern, I bow down to you again. I will not be. I guess that's the big question here. Are you going to be watching this card live?
Nope.
Good. Okay, so that is it for the show. Thank you all for watching. Jed, have you changed anything up yet?
No, stuck with my team.
Alrighty. So if anything happens, we won't let you know. We'll just tell you after next week, during next week's show, if we did end up changing it, and as soon as possible. But that is it for the show. Thank you all for watching. Jed, let everybody know where they can find you on social media and your MMA stuff and whatever else.
MMAfighting.com, Twitter, Jed K. Meshew. That's it. Bye.
Alrighty, you guys can find me on the Twitter at Nick Baldwin MMA. You can find my writing over at bloodyelbow.com. You can find all of my interviews, audio, here on this YouTube channel, the MMA Circus. Should be easy to find here on it right now. So just click out of this when we're done in just a few moments, and go check out all of my interviews. Did two tonight. I talked to UFC heavyweight Tai Tuivasa, who got his UFC debut victory. Tuivasa, I mispronounced his name there. It seems like pretty typical for this show. Tai Tuivasa, I talked to him earlier tonight about his knockout win over Rashad Coulter at UFC Sydney this past weekend. It was a flying knee KO, super impressive. Got his thoughts on that and much more. It's a pretty actually good conversation. I enjoyed it. Also talked to UFC Hall of Famer Dan Severn. He wanted to talk about Ken Shamrock, who I of course talked to at the end of October. Wasn't super in favor of some of the things Ken said, and we got his thoughts on that and what he's been up to for the past little while as well. Great to chat with the legend Dan Severn. That's pretty much all I got. Just Bleed MMA dropped a comment or a question in the YouTube chat. Gotta look at it. He says, "What do Canadians eat on Thanksgiving?" Well, Thanksgiving in Canada,
Canadians eat a lot of pie. We already talked too much damn about this damn thing. Let's fucking go.
Hey, you gotta respect the listeners. They ask a question, you gotta answer it. So Thanksgiving tomorrow for you. So happy Thanksgiving in Canada.
Yeah, they are. The bitches already had it. No one cares.
So we eat turkey.
They eat a lot of poutine. It's fine.
It's all normal. We don't eat poutine on Thanksgiving. Just every other day of the year. All 364 other days.
They eat poutine and Tim Hortons. Are we done here?
That is so funny. So yeah, tomorrow's just a regular Thursday day here in the Peg. Gonna be cold. That's fun. That is it. Thank you all for watching. We appreciate it. For a Shanghai card like this, for a bad card. If you're listening, you're a hardcore fan, and go do something else with your life. We'll end it there. Thank you all for watching. We really do appreciate it. And if you do choose to watch, enjoy the fights on Saturday morning.
Bye. I don't love you guys this week.
There you go. Yeah, I don't.